Squid Game 2 is out. Yeah, it's very long awaited. Feels like it's been so many years since the first Squid Game. I can't remember how long it has been, but Netflix, show that, a Korean show that really just swept just everyone away, has finally come back, and I binge watched all of it, and here's what I have to say. It's pretty good, but I have to admit, I'm not really certain where this show is going. A lot of people did complain about the first season on how there really shouldn't have been a season 2, but I get the feeling like they knew they were going to have a hit, so they left room for a sequel, and they left a lot of room, and I have to admit, there are a lot of things that I want to see resolved as far as the Squid Game is concerned. Namely, that the Squid Game should be eradicated, which appears to be the end goal of the main character, Gi-young. Now, if you're not familiar with the Squid Game, essentially, the first season has the character Gi-young be involved with hundreds of contestants in this, for lack of a better term, lethal game show, where essentially these characters play these little kids' games, and if they are eliminated, they are literally eliminated, as in shot, killed. But the thing is, the more people that are killed, the more chance you have of winning. And the thing is, here's the thing about the Squid Game. Squid Game is one of those concepts that I believe is very, I feel like it has more to say thematically than it does in what it actually shows. Squid Game is one of those shows that has a lot of violence. And I don't really feel like the violence is gratuitous. I actually feel like you feel the impact of it. It's not it's kind of like a war movie, like say Saving Private Ryan. It's a tragedy that these people are being killed, and killed for very little reason. And in the case of the first episode of the first season, or maybe that was the second episode, I don't really remember, where these characters play red light, green light, and essentially they get killed if they don't immediately stop. Yeah, that's pretty sick. It's revealed in season 1 that I believe that this is some sort of, that they show these billionaires or super rich people just watching them and taking bets on who's going to win and stuff like that. And to me, I don't know if I really liked that. I felt like there were times in the Squid Game where I felt like you should really focus on the main character and what he's going through, but at the same time I was curious about who is orchestrating such a thing and why would you do something like this? And here's what I believe that the Squid Game is trying to say. It's that we live in a society where I know I just said that, we live in a society, sorry. I just kind of feel like we do have perpetual debt and I don't know if this is just this takes place in Korea, and it's, and I don't know that much about Korean culture, but even in America you can relate with this. The idea that a lot of people are in a lot of debt, and they need money, and they need it quickly, and they're just not going to get it working traditional 9-to-5 jobs. But there are people that have a lot of money, that are billionaires, and that don't really do a lot of work. They just sit around and putting other people to work. So is Squid Game critical of capitalist culture? Oh, absolutely. And I get the feeling here in the Squid Game, they just throw you in this here because they know you need money, so they know that you're willing to bet your life that you'll get it. And here's the thing about the Squid Game. The people can vote to leave it. I think it's interesting in the first episode, though, that I don't think that they find out that they're going to get killed until the red light, green light starts, and then the guns start blazing. And then that's when it gets pretty serious. Now, that being said about Season 1, where does Season 2 leave off from this? Well, if you remember, at the end of Season 1, Gi-young is about ready to use his winnings, because he was the basic winner, spoiler alert, and just kind of go off and live a good life. But he can't let it go. He sees, while he's at the airport, he sees that they're recruiting for another Squid Game, and he has to do something. He can't just let it go. And I think that's really the awesome part about this character is he's not perfect. He's very human, but at the same time, you basically sense he's a decent guy that wants to do the right thing. And as I recall, in the first Squid Game, there was a plot of an investigator who was trying to find out what happened to his missing brother. And it's revealed in the first season that his brother was sort of the one who had the big mask on and was sort of running the Squid Game. And then they kind of just sort of dropped that plot line. And then apparently they brought back this investigator. And he and Gi-young have been working together to try and disable the Squid Game or eliminate the Squid Game, stop it, to bring it to light, do something with it after all. And so the strangest thing is that in order to do this, Gi-young gets himself back in the Squid Game, which I kind of went like, oh great, now we're just going to do a sequel to this. Now there's just another Squid Game. And before you go any further, yeah, that is kind of what happens. I do like the scene where Gi-young has to deal with red light, green light, and how he uses his knowledge of it to help save lives. I really like that scene. I thought that was done really well. The best part about it is they changed the rules after that. Now, here's the thing about Gi-young being involved with the Squid Game again. I feel like the guards, the ones that wear those weird PlayStation symbols and pink outfits, would recognize him. And I don't know if they would give him preferential treatment, but they certainly would be thinking like, what's going on here? Didn't we just see this guy? But apparently they're paid to keep their mouths shut. And in Squid Game 2, there appears to be a subplot about this one guard who's working for them, which I kind of think is kind of interesting to go that direction. And then there's the one guy who was wearing the mask in season 1 is now a competitor in the Squid Game. He's 001. This seems to be a theme in the Squid Game, that the guy who's running the game is actually in the game himself. I don't really know if this is like a tradition or if this is something that the show is doing just to, I don't know, just kind of keep a steady cord through this thing, but this seems to be a thing that is happening. I don't know if that's in their contract, like, hey, you want to run the Squid Game? Yeah, you'll get a lot of benefits, but you got to be in the Squid Game afterwards, which I'm kind of going like, do people in the Squid Game usually get killed? I mean, there can only be one winner out of these hundreds, and the fact that you know stuff like that would surely not make you the winner, but they seem to imply that at least in the first, and this is a spoiler for the first season, contestant 1, 001, was a super old man in the first season. Basically, they took steps to make sure he stayed alive and was not killed, which kind of makes me wonder, like, considering like a lot of these characters could get killed very easily. For example, like in the red light, green light, I mean, you're shot on sight and it's done automatic. You better make sure like you don't get killed. And to be spared in that, I mean, they really have to make some things happen to make that work. Now I'm going to get to the spoiler alert for season 2. I really like the fact that Gi-young starts a rebellion in the Squid Game and manages to steal some guns, and they actually start making their way toward whoever is in charge of the Squid Game, which I really liked. I thought, okay, now this is getting really good. Unfortunately, when I got to that episode, I realized like there's not enough time at the end of this episode to resolve everything here. So I kind of knew like, okay, either there's going to be more episodes or there's a season 3 planned, which makes more sense that there would be a season 3 planned of this. Because this is a big hit, and I'm told that this was a very most watched thing for the month of January. People have been looking for this show for a while, and I can see why. Not because they want to see more killing, but they're really interested in seeing what the heck is really going on here. Why, because there is this sort of aspect of like, hey, I can kind of relate to these characters who are in poverty and in debt, and they have to do these terrible things just to survive. And I think that's kind of what makes the Squid Game really work, just as a whole and as a concept. And sadly, as a franchise, because they actually have that reality game show based on it, and I don't know why they have that. Anyway, so Squid Game 2 is pretty good. It's been Mark Rollins from the Geek Church, signing off.